So I've been experimenting with Chroma and I'm trying to figure out what's the best way to digitize a file. And the tools are pretty good in there, but it's not really that fast. Like you have to go through and click a lot of points and everything just to make this thing work right. So what I decided was I'm going to try going into Photoshop first, fixing the art so that it imports properly. Let's take a look. So here I'm going to open up my logo, and the first thing I'm going to do is select this white area in the background. I want to make that transparent. I don't want anything confusing the Chroma software to make it think it needs to produce a white or something like that. So we'll get rid of this little logo down here because I know that type is too small and it's never going to digitize. And then the next thing I want to do is break each one of these colors into its own separate channel. So I'm going to select, for example, the black, and then I'm going to select by, color and create a new spot channel. I'm going to call this the spot black channel, right? And so we'll give it black, and so that selection now becomes everything that's in that spot black channel. Now we're going to do the same thing with the blue, and so you have to be selected on RGB. So I'm going to select blue and then select similar, and we'll create a new spot channel for that, and we'll call it spot blue. So basically all we're doing is color breaking this file inside of Photoshop, but we're not going to have any light and dark values and things like that to confuse the Chroma software. So we're making everything solid colors. And so here I'm going to say spot red. We'll just make this a spot orange or something like that, right? So give that a name of spot orange. And then now we'll do select our RGB, and we'll do the green. So we're going to select. We don't need to select similar because the green is all in one selection. And we'll call it spot green and give it a green color. So now that we have that, we can get rid of these RGB channels because we don't need them anymore. And we see that this is our artwork. Now we can go in and say, okay, I want to split channels, but before we do, I'm going to save it. So let's go up here and say split channels, and now it creates a separate file for each one of the colors. So I'm going to just say save this as a PNG file, and we'll call it lizard dash, the color name. So here in this case it's green. We're going to say close that, and then we're going to take the orange and we'll say save this one, lizard dash orange, and then we're going to close that, and now we're going to say save this one as lizard dash blue, and then we'll close that, and then we're going to say save this one as lizard dash black. So now we have 4 separate files, right? And so we're going to take those files. I'm just going to make a folder here on the desktop called Lizard, and we'll take those 4 files and we'll move them all into that folder. So now when we go into the Chroma software, we can just go in and import each one of those. And so I'm going to make it a size that is easy for the software to work with. So the first one we're going to pick, this black, and we're going to say make it 6 inches, right? And as long as we make them all the same size, it'll fall right into place with each other. So that black comes in. I'll change, the density so that it's 0.3, just so it gives it a nice clean border. Look at that, looks good. So now we're going to say let's import the, the blue color, right? So here we're going to tell that it's 6 inches so that it falls in the same place. And we'll tell that to import. We'll set its density to 0.33, and we'll pick the color. So we're going to make it a blue. Let's render that and see what it looks like. I'm going to group it first, and then I'm going to send it to the back. So now let's render and look what it. So that's starting to look pretty good already. All right, let's take the next one, and we're going to, notice that we're using the automation software, or the automated Chroma import, which here we're going to make that 6 inches, This is the orange, so we're going to bring that in. We'll group it, and we'll set the color and send it to the back. I'm going to make that more of an orange color. And then we want it behind the black, so we're going to just say send to back. And now we'll do the, green color, right? So, but you notice how good this is coming in. It's looking really good compared to if I had just done the automatic on the full color file. It wouldn't look nearly this good. So here we go, 6 inches. And we're going to tell that again to finish. Now we're going to set this to group and put it in the back. And we're going to pick a color. We'll pick this green, lighten up the green a little bit. And now we have our entire logo imported into Chroma software. Looking pretty good. We can make a couple edits and things, but for the most part, that looks great. And the only thing that'll make this better is if we change the direction of some of these threads so that they're kind of all going left to right, for example. So here we see this little yellow line. We're just going to set that going left to right, and that way all of them are consistent in terms of, thread direction. So that's going to clean it up quite a bit. I mean, for automatic, just doing this in a couple of minutes, this is a really good way to go. I think if you're good at the design programs in Photoshop and things like that, you could have a much easier time if you just, export all your channels and bring them in as clean black channels. The automation software inside of Chroma is pretty good when it starts with a solid color, I definitely think that this is a good way to go and a good tool to use. So maybe you could give it a try, and hopefully you guys have the same results I did. Good luck. Thanks. Bye.